okay, my needs not being met. But also too, like you have to do a self-check, right? So my needs not being met, but basically what have I not been doing? Mm-hmm. And do your little check. Well, have I communicated my need to him? Yes, no, whatever. And then if I have not, then I need to go, we need to have to talk about it.
Yeah.
My love, and it's like there's, like Jay said earlier, there's apps, whatever, there's so much technology out here to help with, to facilitate the conversation.
Yeah.
Or to help introduce the conversation, that you can't say, like you cannot have a heart of stone when you are married. That's a whole
nother
exactly.
topic too.
You cannot have a heart of stone when you are married. You have to have a heart of flesh because you have to be forgiving of your spouse so that they are forgiving of you. Mm-hmm. You reap what you sow. I'm just gonna all these like biblical things, but y'all. If I am going to be a jerk to him, why would he be loving to me?
This is the B-side, B-side, B-side. The marriage. This is the B-side, B-side, B-side. The marriage.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of the B-Side of Marriage podcast. I'm your host, Rashonda, and this is my husband and co-host,
Jason.
And here at the B-Side, we talk about everything related to marriage. The good, the bad, the real, the A, and the B-side. So if you're joining us for the first time, welcome. Where have you been? What took you so long? But we're glad you're here. And if you're returning, thanks for hanging in here with us. And if you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to rate, review, comment, subscribe, share all the things. And do the same thing on all of the audio platforms.
As well, follow us on Facebook at The B-Side of Marriage and on Instagram at B-Side Marriage. Why do I always seem to
I don't know.
Mess that
Listen,
up when we do it?
I got my part. That's all I got my part down. That's on you. So we good?
Yeah, we good.
Okay, all right. Well, y'all, we just want to, first of all, just thank you guys for being patient with us in this season. Yeah. We know we're being inconsistent, but we're posting. Yes. Every week, y'all getting a podcast episode.
Yes, we are.
I mean, we are definitely utilizing the rewinds. But know that we're trying, y'all. It is tough out here in these streets. But, we have a new episode for you today. So that's good, right?
No, it's always good.
Okay. All right. So before we jump into our first episode, Lord, see, I almost made it.
You almost made it.
I almost made it. Let me try that again. All right. So now let's jump into our first segment of our episode where we share an A or B side moment from our week.
Oh, here's me to go. So let's see which way we go with this.
I don't know.
I'm gonna go A side.
Okay.
And it goes back to last week. We posted kind of like end of year for our kids, and just to see like the development with our kids, like just in a picture, how much in I guess 9 months, 7 months, however long school is. Yeah.
Sure.
Just to see how much they've grown, how much, how different they look from the beginning of school year to the end of school year.
Yeah.
Was like I said, to me it was an A side, and then to go with that is even our oldest now. This the maturity's coming in there now. I'm gonna say it wasn't there before. Because now we ask him to do, instead of why this, why that, it's just, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Like, he's been doing it a lot this week. And I was kind of like, oh, wow, okay. Because normally he'd just be asking, but what we going to do is why this, why that. I'm just like, can you just do this for me, please?
Yeah. I think he has ulterior motives.
He probably does, but hey, you know what?
me.
I give him development points for that.
Okay.
What about you?
I'm gonna have to say a B.
Okay.
Man, because life is busy. With school, and then internship, clinical hours, work, BSide, kids, spiritual, like all us. Yeah, well, yes, all of those. It's like it's been crazy. Yeah. The schedules. I mean, we've had to take scheduling to a whole new level. So yeah, I would say B-side because also too, I think trying to fit in everything, it has it impacted the sleep, my sleep that I'm able to get. So I think also too that makes me a little bit more irritable and just like patience level at a 0. So yeah, so that's why I say a B-side.
Okay.
Just juggling all of that and only getting sleep like 1 day a week is not good. So yes, that's my B-side.
Okay. So our second segment, we always talk about a P2P share with something we're listening to, reading, or watching. So what you got?
I have a show on Netflix called Queen Charlotte.
We finally finished it.
We finally finished it. But if you haven't watched it, I would recommend. I think it's the way that it's written and the acting, it's really great. No. So I would recommend you watch that. I mean, that was actually a show that we watched together.
Yeah. I guess mine will be I think I said this show last year. It's called Couples Retreat. It comes on.
Hey, that is so funny that that's the show you pick.
No, because like I said, it's just like watching it. It's just like I feel like I could tell them some things, like because a lot of it just really comes down to communication. Really. Yes. Having the talks, and just really telling your heart, because a lot of times they're keeping stuff to themselves. So one person is just assuming what the other person, instead of just talking about it. So that's just something to watch. Like
that is so funny.
It's like I said, it's entertaining, but at the same time, I guess for me, because this is what we do, is like it's not say practice, but I kind of think myself like, okay, what would I say if I was in that?
I've been telling you this for all of the shows, y'all. Yeah. I have been telling him this. This is why I watch all of these like Love is Blind, Married at First Sight type of shows, because I'm like practicing, and he's like whatever, and so I actually got him to watch couples therapy.
Not couples therapy, couple retreat.
Oh,
not the therapy.
Not the therapy. Sorry, what is couples retreat?
It's where they take celebrity couples and they bring them to a retreat. Oh,
yeah. No, I don't watch that one. That's the one that I don't watch. But all of the shows, anyways. The moral of my point is still my point. I was like, you just watch it to practice, and he's like, no, you don't. And then now look at here.
Hey.
Look at here, full circle.
Just like the planner, same thing, full circle. I didn't want to do it, and then I got one. So.
Yes, you did.
I still use it, but
I mean, summer. I got a new one. But anyways, we digress. Yeah. But actually, that is a great kind of segue into what we're talking about today.
Okay.
Because we're talking about what to do when you feel like your needs are not being met.
Okay.
Because I think so often, like, people get caught up in, either they should know that's my need, or even if, like, you started off when you were married and, you had one need, and then you just kind of expect that they're going to keep fulfilling it. But times change. Yeah. And so without that communication, you end up just, I don't know. Like, I don't know what, like...
Unfulfilled?
Well, yes, unfulfilled,
Okay.
angry, resentful.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like,
okay.
you can have a plethora of feelings associated with that. So
Yeah.
that's why I was like, I don't know really what to say because it just depends on your situation.
Gotcha, okay.
Or you could go, because I think if my needs were not being met, I think I would go into, like,
Preservation.
yes. And I'm just going to do it myself and I'll
Yeah.
just isolate. Mm-hmm. So that's what's it. It's just kind of like whatever. But anyways, yeah, that's what we're going to talk about.
Okay. All right.
So, all right, so we're going to go with it.
I don't know, like, you said it's what we're going to talk about, so I'm trying to figure out how we want to start from.
I guess, what should you do if you feel like your needs are not being met?
Well,
or what would you do? We shouldn't say in general. Let's just speak from our experience. How about that? Maybe that's the problem. I'm trying to generalize it. We should just talk about us.
Okay.
'Cause
So
we're experts in that. That's for sure. Well, we are.
Yeah. So it's fun. I guess it's funny that because we had this conversation, was it last week or something like that, and we talked about basically us communicating. So it's like,
yes.
What are we doing? The thing that has kind of since I've been home, and so we talk at night. This is something that allow us to kind of talk through our day, what was going on in our mind and things like that, as well as like for us when we do our devotional time, that's something else that helps. So I guess those are the two things that right on top of my head that I think of. That's how that helps us to be able to talk about those things and communicate the needs that we're actually. Wait, there's one more. Is the app too? We don't have to use it in a while, but it's the love. I think it's Love Nudge or something like that. So it's an app. So it's basically the 5 love language app, but it's called Love Nudge. So what it is you both take the test. And like I said, this is something you can periodically do, take the test over and over and over and over. And it's not just like you take it once and that's it. So as your needs start to change, you take the test again, and then it gets updated with your spouse. You guys will sync the apps, and then you guys get updates. So like if I feel my love tank is low, you can actually dial it to a number of where you feel it's at. And then that will alert your spouse, and your spouse will know, okay, he or she is feeling this way, and then that gives you a notification of what that they're feeling, that their needs are not being met, and that's a subtle way instead of we need to talk. Like that's kind of how I look at it. So
that's funny you say that because I was just like, yeah, I gotta talk. Well, because okay, so this is how I feel. I think oftentimes we make assumptions
Correct.
about what our partner needs. But more than that, I think that we prioritize our needs over our spouse's needs.
Okay.
So I'm not necessarily, especially early on, I wasn't necessarily like concerned about your needs. Kind of like, well, because I was like, if he needs something, he's gonna say something. So in order for me to make sure that I'm good, I'm gonna be like, hey, this is what I need from you, and it's not always about sex. It's not always about like that, but that is the thing. But I'm just saying, there's like if you need for your spouse to speak in your love language more. That's a need. You need to talk about it.
Yeah.
Also, too, you need to know what your love language is though before you have this conversation. Like you, in order for your spouse to even have an idea of what you're looking for, you have to talk.
Correct.
And when you're dating, your needs are different. When you're newlyweds, your needs are different. And then as you go through the different stages of your marriage, your marital journey, your needs change.
Correct.
Your husband, your spouse is not a mind reader. They do not know when those needs change. Because I'm just saying, for example, when you're newlyweds, you don't have, rarely, I shouldn't say rarely, intimacy is not necessarily an issue.
Correct.
When you're newlyweds.
Okay.
Because it's new, right? We got a new toy.
Lucky, yeah.
Exactly. You have, you might have like your career or whatever, but you might not have, especially if you don't have kids or anything, the responsibilities are small. You don't have to worry about who, where, when, because it's just like wherever.
You buck wow.
Exactly. So you have like a freedom, right?
Yeah.
And so as you get more responsibilities, you have less freedom to have like that flexibility.
Correct.
So then you have to become more vocal on, those needs being met. So, and I really forgot where I was going with this point, but I was just saying like how needs, they evolve and they change.
Correct. And I'm gonna not counteract what you said, but it's because of, it could be either baggage or your family of origin, talking may not, you need to talk, but how to initiate this conversation is going to be different. And that's something that you have to learn how to, because again, I'm just looking at it as if you have one, you got the husband who in their family they didn't talk like that. Mm-hmm. And then instead of him, telling his spouse his needs, he's not gonna say it because that's not what he saw. That's not so it's like I'm just trying to I'm thinking of the other ways or other individuals because talking is not always the
exactly. Well, in our relationship, that's me. Yeah. I wasn't the talker. I didn't come from a family where we like talked about this stuff. Yeah. Or I never saw how, like, it was never demonstrated how to talk about things like this. Okay. But that's not an excuse.
I didn't say it was.
I know, but I'm just saying it's not an excuse. I love family of origin type stuff. I love it. I love it. But it's not an excuse because you also need to be self-aware.
Correct.
When I realize that the way that I'm communicating is not working for us, then I need to be aware that, this is not working. What do I need to do in order for me to effectively communicate?
Okay.
And then build the tools to be able to do that. Now, also, too, I would say you should have a foundation to go to because you should have went to premarital counseling.
If not, check this out.
I'm just saying because it teaches how to have, like we teach how to have, how to be effective communicators with each other. Exactly. Also, too, how to address and how to bring up hard conversations. Yeah. Like, this could be, discussing your needs could be a hard conversation. Mm-hmm. Especially like you said, if you were raised or you're not used to having to communicate these things, especially if you have to associate it with feelings, because that was not me. Whatever. Like, I just need you to take out the trash. Yeah. Like, don't ask me why. Like, just do it. But that was not effective.
Yeah.
But you have to like be able to figure out what you need to do in order to have this conversation. Yeah, and then when you're having this conversation, you have to communicate to be understood instead of to just get it off your chest.
Yeah, no, that's true because saying something just to vomit is not really like letting your spouse get an understanding of why.
Right.
You're right. No, that's.
Yeah. So, I mean, I get it. It's not, but especially if you feel like your needs are not being met, then you can't assume why they're not being met.
No, that's true.
Also, too, it could be something going on with your spouse that they haven't really talked or really do not know how to
articulate.
Yeah. It could be something going on with them. Like, they could be stressing out at work.
That's true.
And you have no idea, or there's something going on with their extended family that they just haven't brought to you, and they are like
consumed by
they're consumed by it, and they're not realizing that you have a need that they're not fulfilling.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Because I think too often, we were just talking about this in a book club I'm a part of last night, is that we take everything so personal.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not even that serious because we're like, oh, for example, if I were to leave for work and not give you a kiss or say anything to you, when you woke up, you'd be like, wait, what's going on? Did I do something?
I'll be checking where she's at because I'm like, something wrong. What happened? Yeah, because it's just, that's what I'm used to doing. So
exactly. Yeah. And in all actuality, I probably was running late. I'm pretty sure I was running late. And I forgot because I'm running late, so I'm trying to get out of the house so I can get to work on time.
Yeah, okay.
Not even serious.
Yeah.
And then I know because when I probably did, this is so true, what would happen, I would realize it when I'm driving, oh no, I didn't, but then I can't text because you're not awake. So now I have to wait until you text me first. Yeah. And then, but by that time, all kind of things could have went through your head.
Yeah, no, you're right.
And now your day's all messed up over just me just running late.
Yeah. No, you're
because we always we take it personal, we internalize unnecessarily.
Yeah. You're right. You're right.
So that's what I was like. That's like a real.
I'll be right on my phone, like find my where she at. Like, is she at right? Like,
yes.
Yeah, I would.
So that's what I'm saying. We take everything so personally, and sometimes it's not that serious.
Yeah. No,
and there could be other things going on, and they just have not voiced it, or we have not voiced it yet.
Mm-hmm. No, that's good. That's good.
Another reason why I think there's an issue with communicating your needs is that in order for a marriage to be healthy, you have to be selfless instead of selfish. And most people in a relationship are selfish. It's all about me. Well, my needs ain't getting met. Yep. Then that's when the pettiness come out. So my needs ain't being met. So I'll forget his needs. I don't care what his needs are. Because he ain't doing this. So I expect him to do this, that, and the third. And then when he doesn't, then it's... I wish he would try to ask me to do something. I wish he would come here and try... Dinner? What's wrong with your finger? What's wrong with your phone?
Go left all the time.
I'm just saying.
No.
I mean, you know.
I ain't do none of that, but she went left.
But I'm just... That's how I would respond.
Yeah.
Because we always thinking about us. And it's just like a society thing, too. Yeah. It's like, I gotta get mine. I gotta do this. I gotta it's all about me. In order for me to appear to be successful, I gotta be doing this, and this. And when in actuality, in a marriage, you have to be selfless. It is literally all about the other person.
It is. And I'm just thinking back, when we first did, premarital counseling, all that stuff. In the beginning, just how much I heard the word selfless. And even just in our marriage ministry that we was part of, how much we always heard that.
Yep.
And I can't say I quickly got on it, but
no,
it was more of me trying to figure out how I can do that, how I can be selfless, and what does that mean. Not so much to me, but being able to every morning, give my all to what your needs are. So I don't know. It's just I'm just trying to think, really think back, not say when did I get it or when did it start. I don't say when did I get it, but
I don't know when we got it.
I can't. That's what I was trying to think as you were saying. I was trying to think like that. I was like. But it's a process. As I say, it's a process like anything else. Being able to, because again, just think about it. If you've been selfish for 30 years of your life, it doesn't turn around. It doesn't.
It doesn't.
So,
it doesn't.
Yeah, this is a process you have to continually, daily, giving yourself and making sure that, if it's support, if it's comfort, if it's, just writing a little note that makes her smile. It's just those things that you got to constantly do to pour into your spouse. So.
Yeah, and I'm going to make this a very generalized statement.
Okay.
But typically, women are nurturers. Mm-hmm. So it's typically easier for a woman to like give and give and give, and give. So I think it might be a little easier for women to be more selfless until they are basically burnt out and empty.
Okay.
And then at that point, then it's like, I've been doing all of this.
When you burn it, like burning a hole, basically.
Yes, like then now
Not
they
just some
to the
empty,
point where
like-
they're at a deficit.
Yeah.
Or negative, yes. Like, but it's at that point though, then it's like, then that's when the selfishness comes in, because like I've been doing all of this and no one's been appreciating it, or no one's been pouring back into me. Yeah. So now I'm at a deficit. So now it's all about me. You deal with kids. I've been dealing with them. You do this. I've been doing this.
Yeah.
So it's just like, you even in like what are typical like gender roles, you have to make sure that you're constantly checking in with your spouse to make sure that it's like even kill, because like I said, you pour out and you're not getting poured into, and then it's still at the end of the day you get the same result.
Yeah.
Of if you've been selfish from day one, it doesn't matter. Okay, you a little later.
Yeah.
But day 10, you like, okay, here I am. Like, no. Yeah. So it's still just, you got to make sure that you're prioritizing your spouse's needs over your own. And that's big.
And other people. Over your own and other people. Family members, stuff like that is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's...
That's another time.
I don't know if I want to go there.
I just threw that in there because that's
a whole thing.
That's part of it too.
But it is.
You get, like we said before, like you get married, and sometimes a spouse will be close to their parents still, and they pour more into them than pour into you. So that's kind of why I said that. So.
I mean, I know what you were saying.
Oh, okay.
That's what I just don't know how deep I want to go into that.
No, I'm not trying to change your points.
Well, yeah. So I think people often use, if my needs are not getting met, that gives me permission to do whatever I need to do to make sure I'm covered. And I think, for us, we see it more so with the emotional and physical affairs.
Yeah.
Because, you're not doing this no more. And I talked to work wife, and work wife, she feels me. She feels what I'm saying.
We don't use those vowels.
Well, I already know.
We don't use those vowels in this household.
But yeah, so it's like, now instead of talking to or trying to fix it with your spouse, now you texting the work spouse.
Work both thing.
And y'all got keying and all of the doing all of the other stuff. Well, no, okay. Or you now went out and physically had, an affair.
Yeah.
Because there's always somebody willing.
We've had these conversations.
Yes. So now what you've done is you've taken one issue and now you've magnified it to a point where it could be, because some people say, if you cheat on me, that's it.
Yeah.
So you literally now put your whole marriage at risk.
So it was a little rip, and then you just teared the whole thing.
Yes. So now there's actually like no trust.
You got to rebuild
and now you got to rebuild all of that.
Yeah.
And that's going to take, you thought your needs weren't being met. That's what I'm like, how does that work? My needs are not being met inside my marriage, so I'm finna go over here
I don't know from experience. I can't say from experience. The way I see it, because the way I see it, when you instead of dealing with the stress that comes with having a conversation with your spouse, somebody can run to somebody else where it's easier, but they're not having that stressful conversation. So instead of addressing the concern that you have and talking about it, they just go this way because it's easier to do it that way. I'm just saying that's how I see it. Again, I've never done it, but I'm just saying that's how I see it.
Well, see, and I don't see it being easy. That's an easy out.
I'm not saying an easy out. What I'm saying is
easier.
It's easier because like you said, it's like you feel you're having a simpler conversation with, like you said, work wife or work husband. Mm-hmm. You have an easier conversation.
Yeah.
So there's no stress behind it. It's just you're vomiting, they're listening, but they're planting their seeds.
Right. Because there's no strings attached with them.
Exactly. So, but that's what I'm saying. So you're just feeling like, oh no, I was just talking. But in actuality, that intimate conversation that you're having with the other person, if you did that with your spouse, you would build the intimacy with your spouse.
Yes.
And that will bring y'all closer, but you're going this. That's why I was like, that's where I was thinking from. Okay.
Yeah. No, I agree in that because you're basically planting seeds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And if you start watering, you're gonna grow something.
Yep.
That you don't want the fruit. You don't want that fruit from them trees. Okay. I feel as though what we too often do. Mm-hmm. So we're thinking about things from a me perspective. Mm-hmm. And then we are now frustrated with each other. And now instead of us turning toward each other, we turn away.
Correct.
And you do you, I'ma do me, but we still gonna be married.
How? I guess not say how. It's just like that. Yeah.
Well, if I go back to my old days, I could see. I don't know how long I would be able to do it, but I could see myself doing it. Okay. You know me, I was good at a silent treatment.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'll put on a great face. Are we in public? People coming? Okay, hey, yes, oh, yes, oh, I love you. Yeah. I probably ain't gonna say love. I was like, oh, yes. And then as soon as I gotta go do what I was gonna do anyways. I could easily see that happening. I don't know how long that would have worked for me, but I could see that happening at least for a short period of, I could say about a week.
I'll say about a week. I could
do about a week.
Yeah.
Because especially if I'm deep in my feelings.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, a week is good. But what we've learned and how we've grown.
Okay.
is that it's not that we turn away from each other, but we turn toward each other. Like we have to be even more intentional about making those little deposits.
Yeah.
So that even if a need is not being met, because we've been making those those little deposits, it's not a big thing when you come to withdraw. Mm-hmm. Because, like I said, you've been making the deposits.
Correct.
So you'll never have insufficient funds. Mm-hmm. So it's like...
it may be depleted, but it's not going to be...
It won't be insufficient.
Yeah,
yes.
It won't be insufficient.
And so another analogy would be like when you're making a snowball and you got to start off small and you got to pack it in and then it gets bigger and then you get to a point where you can actually even roll it on the ground. Yeah. For people who don't live in Texas, because it rarely snows. Well, that was before climate warming. Anyways, I digress.
Climate warming?
Global warming, climate warming. You know what I was saying. But as you're rolling the snowball down the hill, it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's like what those little deposits are doing. They start off small. So if you're making small deposits, don't come in for a large withdrawal, insufficient funds. Okay? Keep packing until you get that bigger ball, and then you can start rolling. Then you can start making withdrawals. Don't come too early. You come too early, bank is closed.
Bank is closed.
No, what happens is, you know how you be in line and they wait till like right before you come, and then they be like, they put the little sign there. The teller's on break.
You ain't right.
So that's what's gonna happen. You make it all up positive. You come too early, teller on break. I go to lunch. Okay.
I wish you would say something like that.
I kind of like that.
I wish you would. I wish you would say something like that.
I'm just saying, don't come too early before you come with this withdrawal, okay?
Oh, man.
But if you're consistently making those deposits, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry.
Bank is always open.
Exactly. You gonna know the bank is open.
Oh, my goodness.
And even in those moments when the bank don't really feel like, allowing the withdrawal to happen, it will still happen. It's still gonna be good because you've been making those deposits.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. So if there's a need that's not being met, you have to turn toward each other and say, okay, my need's not being met. But also too, like you have to do a self-check, right? So my need's not being met, but basically what have I not been doing? And do your little check. Well, have I communicated my need to them? Yes, no, whatever. And then if I have not, then I need to go, we need to have to talk about it.
Yeah.
My love, and it's like there's, like Jay said earlier, there's apps, whatever, there's so much technology out here to help with, to facilitate the conversation.
Yeah.
Or to help introduce the conversation, that you can't say, like you cannot have a heart of stone when you are married. That's a whole nother
Exactly.
You cannot have a heart of stone when you are married. You have to have a heart of flesh because you have to be forgiving of your spouse so that they are forgiving of you. You reap what you sow. I'm just gonna all these like biblical things, but y'all. If I am going to be a jerk to him, why would he be loving to me? If I'm gonna be petty, he gonna be petty to me.
So I'll add this as well. So just like we all, not all of us, but people, we go to work for somebody else. Okay. If you're going to work. If you're going to work more happy than what you're doing at your house, what you need to do is spend more time with your spouse. Instead of always focusing on your job, working all the time, dial that back and start focusing on each other instead of just worrying about work. Because, that can be something that can just go away that quick. That job real fast.
Yes.
And then what you're going to be at home,
miserable,
and then you're not going to want to talk to your spouse because you didn't put that time in, with your spouse. So, and that, for me, that kind of goes back to, years ago when I was working for the courthouse. We was doing some Bible studies and stuff like that. And that was something that, that came to mind. It's like, we put so much effort in going to work, getting dressed up, doing focusing your time, and then for some jobs you may not even speak to your spouse during the day because you're just working. But then when you get home, it's like, oh no, I need some time for me to digress or whatever the word is. And then it's 8:00, and it's like, have you spoken to your spouse? Have you took any time to talk with them? And then you're like, all right, I'm going to bed. It's like, so you gave all that to your job, but you gave nothing to your home, to your kids, your wife. So it's like,
He's saying, don't try to roll over. Oh,
So-
now
Yeah.
you notice that I'm here.
but
No,
that's
ain't time for
that's
that.
something, again, that's something that came to mind because I remember we was doing a Bible study and it was us guys talking about it, and that was something that, I remember it was either me or somebody else brought it up, and it was like, I remember saying, it's like, why is this job so important that you can't go home and put that same effort in with your spouse? And they just looked at me crazy. It's like, I'm just being truthful.
Yeah.
I was like, you do it here. Why can't you do it at home? But then you want to complain when you get home. You're not happy about certain things. But what are you doing? So.
No, that's good because what the Bible says.
What the Bible says.
Like, wherever your treasure is, that's where your heart is also.
Yeah.
So if you're putting your time, because time is a treasure, is something that we have to steward. So if all of my time is always spent like at work, all of my energy is focused up into my job, into my career, into work, outside of my home, then that's where your heart is. Your heart's not at home with me.
Correct.
And the kid is not. It's not with your spouse because you would be investing time. And I understand that, sometimes jobs are demanding, but you have to set those boundaries. Like, yes, like even before we went into the season, we set boundaries. We were like, okay, we know it's gonna be busy. We didn't know it's gonna be this busy, but we was like, it's gonna be busy. But these are the things that are like non-negotiables.
Yeah.
Because we're not willing to risk our marriage for the sake of getting these other accomplishments.
Correct.
And that's how you have to be, because a job will suck you dry and then kick you to the curb. And who you gonna go to help pick up the pieces? The person you didn't want to spend no time with. The person that you've criticized.
So, and I'll just add it. I don't know what your next point was, but
I don't know if I have a point. I'm upset. I'm upset. I gotta calm down. I'm upset.
the thing, and I would say as a man, we have to be accountable to our spouses, to our wives. And if we can't be accountable to our spouses, who can you be accountable to? That's really what I'm saying, because the simple fact is, Shonda's not going to steer me in a direction that's going to get me hurt. You're not going to say, okay, do something that's going to put my life in jeopardy, our family in jeopardy. So it's like, that's where your accountability comes from. Like, that's where the conversation of us talking, of you having these conversations about, like your fears, all those things, having a conversation with your spouse, because then they understand and know these things. So if you're getting attacked at work, if you're getting attacked when you're not home, they can be there to, if you, and I'm the only thing that's coming to my head is a, fishing rod. Like, if you're going too far, meaning like you're
Casting it out too far?
No, yeah. If you, I don't want to say casting it, but like if you're if you're getting too far, or what we talked about, or just like what we talked about, how far we will go.
Oh yeah.
It's like, no, then your spouse could reel you back in. It's like, no, listen, remember what we said? This is what you was gonna do. Instead of you going, and I'm thinking of more of like, you go to work, have something where, your boss rips you up for something, and then you come home, you vent to your spouse, and then, you don't go into work, then cussing this person out, giving them everything. It's like, no. Let's talk about how you can have this conversation better, or what you can do, So I'm just.
Well, yeah, because I want to see you succeed. Your success is my success. It's like it's our success.
Yeah.
So of course I don't want. Because there's been some times that you wanted to do that. You wanted to go in and just, hey, flip tables, do all the things. I don't want that for us because of I knew of our goals, like, you know, what we were working towards, right? So I also, too, I don't want you to go without. I know that guys are physical creatures. They're visual. I said physical. Visual. Y'all, just bear with me, okay?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
They're visual creatures. So I don't want to send you out in that world on E. I just don't. Because I don't want to set you up. Basically, that's how I feel. I feel like I'm setting you up.
Okay.
For failure.
Gotcha.
Just like I don't want you going to the job flipping tables. Yeah. So that's why you have to stay connected.
Correct.
Whenever there's a disconnect, you have to don't turn away, turn to each other and be like, hey, okay, so this was working, but now things have changed. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to get a wide change because things just be happening, especially as you get older. But things are changed. We're gonna have to fix it. Huh? And it's okay to be vulnerable with your spouse. Your spouse should be your safe space, your safe landing place. You can be the most vulnerable with this person. Because that's literally, y'all, we're not telling y'all something that we have not walked through. We've walked through it several seasons. Here recently, we've walked through. And we had to go to couples therapy in order to help someone help us to communicate, like to be that third party to help. Because we thought we were talking to be understood, but we were just talking at each other.
Correct, yep.
So that's what it's like. There's no excuse. There is no excuse. Seek couples therapy. Seek a trusted, if money's an issue, seek a trusted marriage mentor. Yeah. Everyone should have it. At least one couple.
At least one couple, yeah. That you can go to, that each of you can go to.
Yes. For us, we like to have an older couple.
Yeah.
That they can pour into us, and then we like to have a younger couple that we can help pour into. Correct. At least, yeah. So that we all keep it flowing. This is like, we're constantly, holding each other accountable and stuff. Like, that's what you need. So if you can't do couples therapy, find a marriage mentor, do marriage coaching, do something, read a book, find a podcast.
Pray together. Do a devotional. Do a devotional. Not just like pray for each other. Like sit down and pray for one another. Not just, pray over that. Pray for that person. Pray for your spouse.
In all actuality, that should be your first response. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And if you can't pray together, pray for each other. Mm-hmm. Like you said, y'all got married.
Listen, I'm going to say it like this. When you got married, you held hands, you said all those vows, hold hands and pray over your spouse. Positive things. No, let's not pray some positive things over things that, that they do for the house, they do for your kids, they do the things that help bring life to you. Say all those things. This is deposits that you pray. Yes. These are the deposits that you're going to be doing for your spouse. Like, man. Listen. Those there's been times when she's prayed over me and I didn't even. It wasn't. That was the first thing she said it. It was like, oh, and and the thing that comes to mind is like Wreck-It Ralph. You hear that thing like the video game. Mine just went all the way to the top. I was full. So it's like those are the things. Like those are the deposits. Like So
I'm gonna tell y'all something, ladies. We have recently really tapped into our prayer language. To hear your husband pray in his prayer language over you, I'm just saying. I know what a Song of Solomon was, what I originated, okay? That's all I got to say. I'm just saying, there's nothing like, anyways, we're just going to leave it there. But I'm just saying. Now I know there are also some other reasons why we don't turn toward each other is because I'm gonna just hit these briefly because the hour is long.
Okay.
Because of electronics.
Oh.
We spend so much time on our devices that it's so easy to be like, I ain't got to deal with you. I'm over here. I'm just going to, whatever, play my games, watch whatever, listen to whatever. Unfortunately, that's not an excuse. You got to put it down. You got to put it down, and you have to invest the time. Also, but I think even bigger reason why people don't want to turn to each other is because of fear of rejection.
No.
What if I turn in and you be like, and you still do your own thing? That is painful. That's hurtful.
Yeah.
But I just challenge you to make the attempt, knowing that I'm a believer of, I don't think your spouse will intentionally want to harm you.
But if they don't know, they don't know.
But if they don't know, they don't know.
Yeah.
So turn toward them, let them know what your needs are. Like speak, and as I said, speak from the heart. Do not go in accusing. Do not go in assuming.
Correct.
Just be like, listen, this is just where I'm at right now. I don't want to talk about how we got here. Let's talk about how we move on from here in a healthy way.
No, that's good.
So that way it doesn't allow them to get defensive. Because you're just saying this I want to work, like I want us to come together to work toward this thing. And to overcome this thing. Versus you wrong because you did this and I know you meant to do this and I didn't appreciate you. Like, no, like just this is where I'm at. This is this is a need that I need to have met. How can we come together to fix it?
Yeah.
You don't have anything?
I ain't got nothing else with that because I was like this straight to the point. It's like straight to the point. There's nothing else.
Yeah, and like I said, and if you feel like you can't, if you feel like you can't do that, or you've done it and you've been rejected, y'all need to seek a third party. Like I said, y'all need to get couples therapy. Y'all need to get a marriage mentor, a wise marriage mentor to come in to help facilitate the conversation. You'll know they're wise if they're bringing you back to each other.
Yeah.
Marriage messiness will be like, girl, you right, gone. Go and file that paperwork.
Yeah.
Marriage mentor will work to bring you guys together again. And then what? Oh, or a marriage coach.
Yeah.
Because y'all, you have to give as much effort as you give a job, as much effort as you give education, as much effort as you give externally. You have to give at least that to your marriage. That's why we are called the B-side of marriage, because a lot of people get caught up in the wedding, in #relationship goals. But rarely are people willing to do the work necessary to maintain a healthy marriage throughout the marriage journey.
Yeah.
And we want that. We want more for everyone.
Yeah.
Marriage is fun. I enjoy hanging out with Jay.
I do too.
Okay, I'm sad. I didn't hear
Oh
nothing.
no, I didn't.
I thought you
was about to say something else. No, I do. I do too. It's again like Shonda just said, it's a journey. And if you just think about, if you're on a journey, if you're, first thing comes to mind is Indiana Jones. Like on a journey, Indiana Jones never met something
showing
with
your age. Do they even show Indiana Jones?
They're coming out with a new movie, Indiana Jones. See, look at that. So it was, when you watch his journeys, it's not something he finds it right away. Right. He always runs into something he has to overcome. And he always has somebody with him that helps him overcome. So if you think of marriage in that same sense, that's what your marriage journey is. You guys together overcoming these things that come in your way. It's not, it's not about, okay, I'm getting from here to here. No, you're gonna have things in the middle. You're gonna have things that's going to, try to get you off your course. Okay, but that's why you guys are working through those to come back and get back on course to get to the destination, destination that God has for all marriages. So,
So what you said was good because you guys are meant to war against the thing together, and so it just reminded me of something that I was reading. It's out of a book called "What God Really Thinks About Women." I know this has been a very churchy episode, but hey, listen, it is what it is, okay? Take it or leave it. But it says, God did not create woman simply because man was lonely. He fashioned women to complete man, to love with him, work with him, rule with him, live life with him, procreate with him, and to fight alongside him. Woman was and is a warrior called to fight alongside man in the greatest battle that was yet to come, a battle not fought on the battlefield with guns, but on our knees in prayer. And it just speaks to all the alongside, with, togetherness. Like, y'all not fighting at each other. Y'all fighting with each other against that thing.
That gave me chills.
Yes, that's why I was like, wait.
That gave me chills.
Wait. Oh, and by the way, that was our marriage advance tip. My bad. Because I just want to end with that. It's the togetherness, it's the alongside, it's the companionship against whatever is coming your way.
That's good. That was good.
So, that's all I got.
So, like always,
we can go
share.
ahead and pass the plate.
Yeah.
Y'all pass the plate. And when we say pass the plate, in this instance, we mean y'all share it. Take this episode, share on whatever, share, rate, review, all the things. Share. That's it.
Yeah, you took.
I'm sorry.
You excited, so I'll let you go.
This just gets me fired up. I just don't want y'all to be living in just being together, just to be together. I don't have time for that. So anyways.
All right.
Until next week.
Until next week.
Because remember, the real work begins after you say I do. Peace.